Welcome to the number one friendship podcast in the country. I'm Matt Ritter.
I'm Aaron Karo.
Guys, go to manoftheyearpodcast.com to buy some of our merch. We got some new merch coming in. Really soft cotton, like really 150 thread count. Is that a lot? I don't know. 400, 600? Better than Egyptian cotton. Sumerian cotton.
I think you're thinking of sheets, though.
Yeah, I know. Should we get sheets? Should we have people sleeping in Man of the Year? Like, just, we should be friends bedspreads?
Oh, God. I am wearing the We Should Be Friends hat.
It's okay. I had to go to an event the other night, and we're in our 40s. We're in our late early 40s.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think that it's been overlooked that your body changes and the world expects us to act like we're in our 20s. And by this, I mean footwear. I want to just big hot take. I cannot wear dress shoes ever again in my life as currently constructed. When I get home from a night wearing dress shoes, I'm in agony. My sciatica has reactivated after being dormant for 2 years. Like, I can't wear flat Chuck Taylors either. I need much better arch support. I need to be wearing soft APLs wherever I go.
What's APLs again?
Like, there's really comfortable shoes. There's a couple brands that are like super.
Well, I
So,
think, I think that most people of a certain age, and myself included, have some sort of insert.
it's not enough.
Well, have you tried that?
Yeah, I've tried inserts. It lessens the pain by 10%.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I don't love the look of a suit with sneakers, though.
It feels like old guy trying to be young.
Yeah, it does.
Right? You see a lot of LA dads who are like in their 50s and 60s trying to pull it off. And it's like, buddy,
Yeah.
just so I like when I see it, I go, oh, I don't want to be that guy. But at the same time, maybe they're just doing it for comfort.
Is there in between a dress shoe and like a Converse and a suit? Is there an in between of that?
Well, why can't they just make like sneakers that look like a shoe? You remember like in that movie, just one of the guys where the younger brother had the tuxedo shirt?
Yes. Yes.
The classic tuxedo. So why can't we just have a sneaker that just looks like from far away, looks like a dress shoe?
In the early aughts, when I was dating Alicia, I had this pair of sneakers that are exactly what you're thinking of. They were brown, sort of leather. I called them my sneaker shoes. I was like, I could wear these to weddings. And she was like, absolutely not. I was like, no, you don't understand. They look like shoes. And she's like, no, they don't.
That's the problem. They don't really, but how come technology hasn't advanced so that we have like a completely perfected, like sleek looking, tuxedo looking shoe that's really just a sneaker?
Were you wearing a suit?
Yeah.
Oof,
Yeah. I
man.
was wearing a suit. I was wearing a suit and black shoes.
Yeah, I haven't put a suit on in a long time.
I'm wearing one also this weekend for my nanny's quinceanera. Her kids'
Oh,
quinceanera.
nice.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. Quinceanera.
250 people.
Have you done any like are there traditions? Is there gonna be like I don't know what happens at a quinceanera?
A lot of dancing. A lot of dancing.
Okay.
And
Are you gonna be
my
are you gonna wearing the shoes again?
I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna put on some sneakers. I don't know. Jesse's gonna make me wear shoes.
Yeah. I think if you're wearing a nice suit and you have a nice suit and a tie,
No tie.
okay, I'm gonna
No
give
tie.
you I'll give you permission, Matt, to wear some sneakers with that suit.
I don't think I'm gonna give myself permission. It just doesn't look right. So I
Yeah,
just suffer through.
right. What is
Something's
sciatica?
got to be done. Something's got to be
Yeah.
done. It's a nerve blockage. It's a nerve that gets twisted. Your sciatic, whatever your sciatic nerve, runs from like the top of your butt all the way down your leg, and it's brutal and it never goes away. Once you get sciatica, I want to hear from our listeners if anyone's ever actually beat sciatica. I think sciatica is undefeated. Sciatica is 50 million and zero. There's not a
God, are
single
we
person that has ever. anytime you think you've beaten sciatica, you can go 20 years and then you go to a quinceanera and you're like, oh God, my sciatica's back. Back.
Did you ever think when we were in different eras of our life that you would be talking on a podcast about sciatica to me?
I never did. But life changes. Good transition, by the way. Different eras. You know, I was thinking about Back to the Future. And I was watching Back to the Future 3 the other day where they're in the Wild West,
Love it.
and they become buddies in the Wild West. And it's like I loved how their friendship is like enduring in all these different eras. And it made me think like, what would our friendship be like in a different era? And like, do our listeners think you and your friends would have the same, would you have the same group of friends in different eras throughout history? Or do you think you'd have a totally different friend group and like different friend dynamic?
By the way, are you a time travel guy?
You say these things and I never know what you mean by that. Like what did you ask the other day? Am I a what guy? Oh, am I a pizza guy? Like, I don't even know what that means. Pizza. Like when you say that, that implies that like I'm like super duper into it. And that's all I talk about. Like,
Oh,
no, I don't know.
oh God.
What is it? Define. You got to define your terms, man.
I mean, a
What
pizza
does that
guy is a
mean?
little bit more self-centered. A time travel guy would be someone who believes it exists, who thinks about it, who, you know,
Okay. So time travel is, it means different things to different people, right? If you're saying, hey, what happens when you break the speed of light? You time travel, right? I mean, you
right.
break the space time continuum, as to what happens when that happens, or like if you can travel back in time and if time is linear, like, or there wormholes, I'll say I have no clue.
Because I actually like it's one of my recurring, I want to call it maybe a daydream when I wander,
Okay.
my mom wanders, or when I'm in bed. I think about if I went back 100 years, like what would my game plan be? Right? It's 1925.
1925.
So it's the
Tough
roaring
time.
20s.
A roaring 20s, about to be the Great Depression.
Right. Like, first of all, do I get some sort of job where I can short sell? This is what I think about.
Right, because you have 4 years to get your whole thing right.
Yeah. And also like how would I even fit in? Like, there's a Nate Bargatze really funny clip where he's like, if I went back in time, I don't think I'd make a difference because like I don't know how to do anything. Like, what exactly
Right.
could you really do? You could invent a cell phone,
No, I mean, if you had 4 years, you're on the clock, you got to go be a trader, right?
but how would you even
But
get
you don't even know, right? Yeah. No, right. If you just suddenly went there, like you sort of have an idea that like Bell is a big Bell is a big company. Like who General Motors, I don't know, are they General, but like did they even
Ford?
pop before then?
Yeah.
Ford? I
But
don't
but,
even
e-
know when they popped.
but even if you did, what are you gonna go to the literal Wall Street and be like, hey, I'm Matt, like you have to like
No,
get a suit, get some
I
money.
think the only thing I would do is I would try to figure out a way to arbitrage things, which is just buying things and reselling them. It's the only thing I would think I would do. If
Like
I could
what? Like
figure out things
tires?
that were useful. I don't even know. I
Right.
honestly don't know.
Right. Because I think that brings up. Why don't we just like start with the 1920s or any time we go? I think our friend group would be a lot different because none of our skills are useful in another era. Like being writers, being funny. We have no physical labor skills.
Hold on. They were just at the beginning of Hollywood. So they were just starting to do, I think they were still silent films mostly, right?
But you saying me and you would
But I
get into this? We can't even get to talkies.
yeah.
We're
I'm trying to
struggling
say
to
that we
break
would be
into
huge
talkies.
we'd be huge silent film writers.
Write those little bubbles and
It's
go,
tough.
wow, yeah, like
Right. Like vaudeville. Would you try vaudeville? I know you had to be so much. Think about how much more talented you had to be in the vaudeville era than now.
well, think of it, yes, but also the audiences were less sophisticated. So if you fell on your ass, that's the funniest thing they've ever seen in their life.
Right. Yeah. Maybe I would go pratfalls. We'd just be like crazy pratfall guy.
You know what? You know what's? I don't want to get into dicey territory here, but you know what's interesting about friendships, male friendships, like going back hundreds of years, was that like it seems like they were a lot more like. Actually, you always like this. They were more like romantic. You know what I'm saying? Not in a
Yeah.
sexual.
Yes. Yes.
Like, you
Yes.
ever read the letters that Lincoln was sending his best friend? Just they don't
Oh
know if they
my
were
god.
dating or not.
Oh my god. They all seem like love stories. Every single one of them.
I mean,
But
it, yeah,
look, could we have here's the thing, like could we have just become like, you say we don't have these skills now. It's only because we were raised in a world where we didn't need them. Like I do believe that we could have become some sort of blue collar tradesman, you know? We could have been in the garment district.
yeah, selling raincoats like my grandfather.
Right. Right. Peddlers. Peddlers. But I'm just saying, like, you don't think you could have been a welder? Like, And then our friendship, what seems like a cool friendship? The four guys sitting on top of the Empire State Building on
Oh
that
my
little
god,
pole, eating their lunch.
yeah, yeah, God, what do you think our lunch would be? Who, just like a tuna sandwich?
I think there's a lot of sandwiches. I don't know. Was tuna expensive? Was tuna a delicacy?
I
Here's what
mean,
I think
tuna.
we would be good at. You're underestimating being funny. Like, in the group of guys, if day is miserable, you're cracking jokes at lunch, you're killing.
I mean, we could be like the Abbott and Costello.
Yeah. Silent film. That would be tough, though. We're
Do you
talking,
have a?
we're talkie folks.
I mean, we would do pretty well with the flappers, I think.
But I was thinking about this too. I think we'd do pretty well with flappers. Oh yeah, we'd be the
Yeah.
back in their powder room, all up in their powder room. Um, but then you go back like 100 years, because I've been watching all the Taylor Sheridan verse,
Oh,
like the
really?
1883, like
How is it?
frontier times. That's a rough life.
How are those shows, by the way?
I like them. I like them. I don't know. It's just like very visual. But I think friendships in those eras, it's like you got to put in the work. You got to help. You got to be helpful. You got to be useful.
Gosh, we take so much for granted. Imagine showing up in a town and there's nothing there.
I know. And we talk about friends now. We go, you got to show up. You had to show up and like help your friend build their house.
Build their house.
Your friend
There
was like,
wasn't. It was,
I need you to build my house this year, and then I'll build your house next year.
you know how you say that you should never pick somebody up from the airport because we're too old for that. But back then, you picked them up from the whatever.
Anything. Right. Yeah. You literally took them from Montana to California.
By the way, I know exactly what you would be like in the old West because you know how, like in Back to the Future, they kind of see like the
Yeah.
relatives, the ancestors are all very similar. You'd be the gold rush. You would be running, dropping everything, every fad, picking little gold
I'd
out
be
of
in the
the thing.
casino, Karo. Karo, I'd be in
Oh
the
yeah,
casino.
oh yeah.
I would be a
You would.
proprietor of one of the casinos. That's what I would do. That's the smart move. I'd be the proprietor of one of the casinos. And then of course I would gamble away all of my winnings.
Some guy would come in through the saloon doors, be like, "Where's Matt Ritter?" Shoot you down.
Duck down. I feel like I could be a good bartender back in the saloon days too.
Um, I think if we were buddies, man, a lot of horseback riding then too. Like, I don't know, your sciatica would be in shambles.
Oh, brutal. What's a good? All right, so let's first of all, we're going too far back. What about like the '60s? If we grew up in like our parents' era, what
Right.
were our
Interesting.
friendships? A lot of
Yeah, you know,
drugs.
60s is probably closest, like pretty fun.
Yeah,
A lot
Coach.
of
It's like
political,
every day was Coachella.
right? Yes. Yes. Every day was Coachella. Yeah, that's so funny. God, you would have not made it in Woodstock. I mean, you wouldn't be able to make it in Coachella, but Woodstock, no bathrooms.
Oh God, brutal.
Your
The
sciatica and
acid,
your IBS.
the acid hitting your stomach. Oof.
Oh yeah, you can't do acid on a empty stomach.
Yeah. Oh, big mistakes.
I think that in the 60s, people were also a little bit more sort of like you became friends with like whatever, the person you met on the corner.
Right. Were people right? I guess that's the question. In different eras, were friendships rooted in different sort of fundamentals? Like were people more likely to be friends with strangers in the 60s?
I mean, people used to hitchhike. You've never hitchhiked, have you?
Right. I hitchhiked one time in my life, twice with you.
Oh
Actually, you
yeah,
forgot this. We hitchhiked New
Uruguay.
Year's Day in Uruguay
Yeah,
on our way to Punta del Este.
yeah. And did we
The
hitchhike,
back
and
of
we
a
just ask? Did we literally like stick our hands
yeah,
out?
that's what you do to get to the beach. Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The second time I hitchhiked, I was with my mom at Jones Beach. We went to the nature preserve, and the car got stuck in the sand, and it was getting dark out, and there were no cell phones,
You drive on
and
the
so we
sand?
literally yeah, there's like a preserve. We went the wrong way.
I mean, such
You're
a
not supposed to be driving on the sand.
what a standard mom story.
Yeah. So we had to hitchhike, and then like some car filled with like, I don't know, college frat boys. It felt very deliverance y, like something bad was gonna happen to me and my mom. So we said no. And
Okay.
then we got really lucky. Like an hour later, I mean, it felt like an hour, but it was probably like 10 minutes. But I was, like 10. Uh, we got a ride from this couple that went to my mom's childhood temple.
Oh,
And they lived
nice.
in her childhood home. They lived in her childhood town, and they dropped her off at my grandma's.
Oh, that's nice. Wow.
How about you?
Now, just a one time with you in Uruguay.
Yeah,
We have pictures from that. We're sitting in the back of a pickup truck.
yeah. So yeah, well, I don't know. Like our friendship, were friendships rooted in different things in different eras? That's really what I want to get to.
Well,
Like
I
in
think
our
it's the
parents'
same as that.
era,
Yeah.
what were their friendships rooted in?
I think it was, I mean, listen, 200 years ago, people got married because they could help with the farm, like,
Right. So
uh,
what were friends? What were friendships based on? I think that you could help out, that you could be helpful and useful and work together. I think most of them were work based,
well,
right?
my dad, I
Dim from the
recently,
mind.
my, I recently discovered my dad's fraternity. He like kept the fraternity photo album throughout college. So I
Feels
guess
like
he graduated.
fraternity brothers were actually closer in our parents' generation and the generation before than they are now.
Yeah, because I think it was kind of a more important. It was like, yeah, I totally agree with that. But
Like
he,
when we got to college, fraternities were kind of just for the party aspect. Whereas I think in the generations before, they were really a networking thing.
yeah,
Plus the partying, obviously. But I
right.
think like you stayed in touch with your fraternity brothers and like they got you jobs and stuff.
I mean, I think that's still happening.
Yeah. Is that right? I don't know.
Yeah, but my dad was wandering around orientation, like not knowing where to go. Some guy was like, "Oh, do you need help?" And they've been now friends for 50 years.
Just from talking to him at orientation.
Just from that. Should we come back? Should we take a listener question?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we'll be right back. Okay, guys, this is asking for a friend. If you have a friendship question or ethical dilemma, send it to us on Instagram, Man of the Year Podcast, and we will answer it on the show. Matt, I think you're going to like this. Dear Matt and Karo, I have a
Mhm.
question about, quote, friendly competition. A good buddy of mine who is also
Ooh.
my coworker has become extremely competitive with me, whether it's work, relationships, how many steps we take in a day. It's starting to feel like we're living in the 1800s and he's going to challenge me to a duel over who gets a promotion. I miss when we were just two people supporting each other instead of rivals in a never ending cage match. How do I address this without escalating?
Wow. That's an interesting one. Because, we have obviously our friend group, we have a lot of friendly competitive rivalries, and some of them have gotten a little out of hand sometimes, and we
I
have to
mean,
rein them
literally,
in.
the
I,
namesake of the podcast is a giant trophy we give out each year.
yeah, yes. I think friendly competition only works when it's friendly, right? And it only works when you have buy in from both parties.
Interesting.
Because I
When you
think it
have
works if you have two people that are on the same page. So when you're not on that page, you got to change it up, right? And this might not be the right person for you in the moment.
It's interesting because there's a fine line between accountability partners and rivals.
Right. Like if this person is an intense rival, it needs somebody that's like an intense rival, right?
Yeah,
He needs his Lincoln Douglas debates, if he needs his Tesla Edison, right?
yeah.
Then maybe that's not you. And that's okay if it's not you. You guys can still be friends. So let's just like back up for a second. This doesn't mean the end of your friendship. If you're like, hey, I don't want to be your competitive rival. Find somebody else to race with.
It's funny. Did you ever
But how
have
do you say that? But how do you say that? That's the question.
But you ever have that one-sided competition where someone's like, "Yo, man, like, I drank 15 beers last night, or I lifted all this weight," and you're just like, "Okay, like I don't care."
Congrats. Right. You're like,
Yeah,
congratulations. Yes. No, there are certain people that are fueled by that and need that, and they need a friend to be competitive with. And I think that's healthy. Like, I do think if you have another person that drives you both, I think that's great. I just don't think it's healthy if one person's like, get away from me. You're annoying.
right, right, yeah. What do you think about the old? What do you think about duels?
I think it's a great way to settle things. Love a duel.
What I still don't understand is what exactly is the point?
What do you mean?
Are you trying to kill the other person?
Right. Oh, that's your question. Whether you're trying to kill them or not. I don't think they were trying to kill them. I think you were trying to shoot them, but I think the odds of dying were so high, they're almost one and the same.
But I mean, like, what is it supposed to prove? If I shoot you and you don't shoot me, do I win the argument?
You have to now honor, yeah, you have the honor back. You have your honor back. And you have to
Honor
respect
is
that
like
person. It was for a
is
slight, now that slight has been, you know, like,
right now.
challenged properly.
Now it's like you bump into someone at a bar and they're like, "Let's fucking take it outside." You're like, "Dude,
Right.
who cares?"
I know. But so that way you could move on, right? It's like the duel is allows them to move on if they both survive.
Right. I mean, imagine getting so mad at someone that you're like, "Let's duel."
I mean, so many people in the Wild West died that way.
Have you ever shot a gun?
Yes, many times. Have you?
Oh yeah, we talked about this. Did you? No. What did you? No, I've never shot a gun.
But by the
Hunting?
way, we no, I've just shot at gun ranges. But
Oh,
honor culture is a big part of this country's founding. And there's still a lot of honor cultures out there. We're now more in a legal culture, I would say, which is
right.
probably beneficial that we're living under that. The
Yeah.
rule of law instead of just like you offended me. I think a lot of other civilizations and cultures are still stuck under the honor culture where offense can require somebody to shoot you to death or kill you or stone you or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not really a big fan of the honor culture. I was jokingly like I like the duel because it's cool the way they go count to 10 and like back to back.
It seems
It's
like
fun
so
about it.
easy to you know what I think, Matt? We would be good seconds.
Oh, great second. Never call me. Never call me up first.
Wait, no,
Never
isn't that
call
that's not
first.
what seconds that's not what seconds
The
means.
second is if you don't want to do it, you give it to your second.
No, I thought the second was the dual assistant.
Oh, I thought the second was like you could tell your rival like I'm gonna have my second step in. It's like a backup
No,
QB.
I think me and you set the rules. We make sure both of our people are turning around
Oh, I
right.
thought he
No,
was like a backup QB that you could tap on the shoulder if you're like, my shoulder's a little wonky today. You get in there and shoot to kill.
a trusted representative who acts on behalf of a duelist. The second's main role is try to resolve the conflict without violence.
Oh, okay. So the second never
Yeah,
steps in.
I don't think so. I
What
think
do I
you
think?
are thinking of
Oh, I
a.
think I'm thinking of a champion. Your champion. Isn't there like your champion?
I mean, now
That's
you're
a
thinking of
thing.
Game of Thrones when they're like, "No, I want
Yes.
somebody else to fight for me."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I was thinking of. Like your champion.
You're thinking of cell swords. I think that if we were friends in the dueling, I bet you people in our friend group would duel to death.
Yeah. I mean, we both know we wouldn't be that good at dueling, so this is wouldn't
Oh no,
it
I
wouldn't
would
work well for us to be in that era.
no, because I have terrible aim, but but yes, because we're always bickering with each other. There would be some sort of duel.
I told you I
So I
always
think
liked what I liked about our grandparents' era was that they all grew up together and moved to a new place together. That I always liked. Anyway, back to the question of
yeah,
competitive friends. How to deal with them? What do you think is a good way to handle this?
I think your advice is right. I mean, to say something to the guy, hey, I don't really want to like compete on this. I think it's better just not compete. Eventually, the guy's going to get bored and then move on or be normal.
Right. If you're just like, oh, that's great for you, they get the
Right.
hint that you're not engaged, you're not giving them the fuel that they want, and they'll probably go seek it elsewhere.
Right. It's like if the guy's like, how many steps did you take today? I'm like, yeah, I stopped counting. I don't wear my Fitbit anymore.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Like
Exactly.
it's almost the same thing
Stop
as a
wearing
bully.
my fit.
Yeah. If you stop feeding the trolls and they stop bothering you.
Yeah. I think it's yeah. But like again, the flip side is you could still be friends with that person. You don't have to like not be friends with them because you don't like that aspect of the relationship. Like your friendship, you shouldn't let other people kind of shape it unilaterally
Hmm.
too. I think that's important. A lot of us get into these friendships where we're letting the other person dictate the terms of what the friendship is, whether it's fear or fear of judgment. Oh, I don't know if this person is going to like me, or I can't be myself around them. Then maybe that's not the friend for you. But at the same time, you may just be not wanting to be part of that competitive thing, but you may like them otherwise. So once you
Yeah.
let that competitive stuff go, let's see what's there in the friendship. And if the friendship is still thriving without that piece, then great, you've solved your problem.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's the move. Okay, guys, this was asking for a friend. If you have a friendship question or ethical dilemma, send it to us on Instagram. All right, Matt. Any final eras you want to talk about in our eras tour
Well,
here?
we never talked about the Roman era. We started the pod like 2 years ago talking about the Roman times. Could we have been buddies in the Roman times?
Well, what's interesting is that nobody lived till they only lived till they were like 40. So like,
You had to bond quickly. Yeah,
yeah,
we've been friends for 40 years. They didn't even live until 40.
right, yeah. Again, the footwear would have. Did everyone have sciatica with those sandals, those flat
Oh,
sandals?
between the footwear and the IBS, I'd be out.
Yeah, because you'd be literally pooping in the gutter.
Well, most people died of dysentery back then.
But at least the Romans didn't they build the? Because I was in Italy, they built
The
the.
aqueducts,
Yeah, yeah. I think it
sewage,
just flowed.
the first sewage systems.
Yeah, they had to raise things so the wagons went over the sewage. But yeah, I think we would. I don't know because I think you wouldn't ever stab me in the back. Never be at two, Matthew. I think you'd probably stab me in the front.
Yeah. No, you know why I think would be fun if you like being friends in that era. Like you do have to invent ways to have a good time, and I feel like you and I are good at like having fun with wherever we are,
Yeah.
and I think that's a big part of like life before the last couple of decades.
Oof, man, it was probably so boring.
Right. So having a good imagination, which we both do, and just kind of
Oh
going with
yeah.
the flow, like those are good skills to have friends back then.
I mean, we'd be jesters basically.
Yes. Yes. In every era, that's pretty much what we'd have to lean on our quote unquote soft skills.
Yeah, if we were ever in like a royal court, but we would tire the king would tire of us very quickly of our antics.
Well, that's the thing. Once the king tires of you, it's curtains.
Yeah, yeah. It's not good. But I think our friendship would transcend time.
I like it. So I think that's how you should think about for the listener. Think about your friendships. Think would this friendship transcend time? If so, that's a great friendship.
Yeah, it's almost like that recent movie with God, Florence Pugh and who's the guy who's Andrew Garfield? We Live in Time. It's like their love story crosses millennia, whatever. It'd be
Right.
like us.
Right. Would our friend bond survive over eras? It's a good question.
Yeah, I think it would, and until the dino, I guess there were no dinosaurs when they were human, so that's stupid. But
The
woolly
Cro-Magnon
mammoth,
man era. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I'm probably, and this isn't a diss, I'm probably a little bit faster than you, so that means you'd be dead immediately.
You are. You've got some good foot speed.
And you've got sciatica, you barefoot basically. No, it's really the foot, it's the cushion in these
But
eras.
no, but maybe it's the shoe wearing that's been holding me back.
Oh, well, our friend Dana Dude went to the barefoot and it destroyed his body.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he
He
makes a
wore
lot of
those.
for a smart guy. For a smart guy, he makes a lot of foot related decisions that don't seem
Yeah,
to add up.
but he wore those finger toes for like a year, and then he like can't now he can't walk. Seriously.
Wow. Gotta ask him
Yeah.
about that.
All right, guys. Well, let us know what you think about your friendships and would you survive in other eras or would you be mammoth meat like Matt? Guys, thanks so much for listening. Always remember, be good to yourself, be good to your friends. Love you, buddy.